everyone. Welcome to Bead Table Wednesday. Yay! I have a little fun project for us today. If you're new here, I am Heather Powers from Humble Beads, and I'm a bead maker, jewelry designer, author, illustrator, and your all-around creative muse. It's my job to get those beads off your bead table and into some jewelry. And today we're going to be talking about bead soup and also about how to be creative when life gets tough. And so I hope you guys enjoy today's chat and project. I'm probably going to take about 45 minutes or so to go through the stuff today. So if you have something to work on, grab a project and create along with me, or just watch and enjoy. If you're here, say hello. I'd love to hear from you guys. I always love to know who's watching, where you're watching from. Are you feeling creative this week? Hi, Wendy, Nancy, Barbara, Nancy Peterson from Beaver Island. Hi, Donna, and is it Emily from Motorcrafts? I might have forgotten already. Oh, my brain. It's not what it used to be. Okay, so we're going to talk about bead soup. I gathered some bead soup. What is bead soup? If you've never seen bead soup before, it's just all your leftover beads. And this one I gathered in a color theme to match my focal beads, which were teal, browns, copper, peach, and cream. So that's what we got going on in this bowl. We'll see how many, we won't use the whole bowl, but hi, Em from New Zealand, who gets to enjoy autumn. That sounds nice. Hi, Susan and Darlene. Patty watching over on YouTube. Nice to have you here. Oh, good, Emily. Oh, something did get through my thick brain. Hi, Lynn and Tara. Yay, you made it to a live. I love that. Hello, everyone. Hi, Krish. You're here for a live. Good. I hope you guys enjoy it. Yes, I'm so happy you guys are here, too. Oh, we got people from the Ozarks in Missouri. We got Mo. Is that Missouri? Oh, I just have no brain cells, guys. Terry, I'm glad you're here. And Diana and Stacy, Angela, so glad you guys are here. Okay, let's put together my focal first, and then we'll do the little bead soup. So I have a bead crush on this little flower piece from Vintage. It's a raw brass, so it's in that bright, shiny gold color. And, it's a stamping. And it doesn't have a hole, so we're going to actually kind of wrap it around this filigree ring that I have. So we're going to use this filigree ring and do some wrapping of this element around that. Kind of a little old school Miriam Haskell 1930s and 40s type beading, where you have a filigree piece and wrap metal elements and beads around it. So hi, Debbie. Nice to have you here. Melissa Hughes. Hi, everyone. Hi, Shadow from Ohio. Cindy, great question. Cindy asked, is this the latest vintage box? The vintage box is heading out this week. I think they probably have already gone out, but they won't be here until next week. So next week I'll be doing the vintage unboxing. So this is just stuff from my stash. And so these are just all elements from humblebeads.com and things you can find over there. And so the vintage unboxing will be next week. So we had a little slight delay in the beginning of the month, and so I don't know, February just always flies by. I never know how that just disappears so quickly. Okay, so I'm going to just go for it. I don't have a plan. I just know I want to wrap this around my component, so I'm going to stick it around the back here. Okay, I think I'm gonna, I know what to do. I am going to stick this up behind the piece so that it actually like wraps around. So I'm going to open that up a little, grab my chain nose pliers, and wrap this around the metal piece. Okay, and I'm going to position this where I want it to be, and then I'm going to stick this little metal piece back into one of the little, filigrees. Okay, and now I'm going to take, let's see, I think I'm going to take this guy right here and fold him down. And there we go. Nice and secure, and we've decorated that ring. Woohoo! Oh. Oh, Chris, good. I'm glad you're able to watch on YouTube. Yeah, if you're ever having trouble on Facebook, guys, just head over to YouTube, and it's live on YouTube, and we can read your comments there too. Okay, so we got that going on. I'm going to grab my big box of jump rings, and I'm going to grab an 8mm jump ring to attach that leaf on the bottom here. There we go. So I have an 8mm brass jump ring, and I know that fits nicely through the holes down below here. At least I think it does. Here we go. So I'm going to slide that through. Take my jump rings out of the way. Okay, and now I'm going to close this up. And now I'm going to have those two together. I want to have, oh, here we go. My board was caught on something. I kept rocking the boat here. Okay. Hi, Susan, watching from Georgia. I love that you guys are all across the country joining in. I'm really happy to have you guys here. I love connecting with you guys, and I love making jewelry, so Wednesdays are always a good day. Okay, I'm going to grab a little O bead to stick in between my spacer bead and my treehouse. And let's see. I'm going to see if that fits. I'm seeing if this, yeah, wanted to make sure this wire fit. I'm going to wrap with this 18 gauge twisted wire from Vintage. It's in the natural brass color. And I've cut about 8 inches here. Cassandra! So glad to see you here. On the other side of the mitten, that's right. Okay. I'm like trying to watch in the camera and below at the same time. I wonder why I always get like tongue-tied or forget words on here. It's because how can my brain handle all of this? Okay, just making a simple little loop here to start with. I'm going to break that neck where, you know, you grab the back and pull it so that your loop is directly above your wire that's below. And now I'm going to find the spot that this best fits in, which is right here, so that it's centered above. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to just take my pliers here, just open that up a little. I just put it in there and wiggled it around to make that opening just a little bit bigger. The nice thing about the Vintage components, they're pretty malleable, so you can do little things like that if you need to. So here I have my loop on the filigree. Make sure that that's gonna hang nicely, and I'm loving it. Okay, now I'm gonna wrap around 2 times tightly, and then Let's see. I think I'm going to leave it simple like that since the wire is so textured. Well, hi, Susan from New Leaf Designs. I'll say hi to you too. We do have an abundance of Susans here, don't we, guys? All right. It's tucked in that little area. Mitzi is like, what is the mitten? Okay, Mitzi, all us Michigan people know exactly what the mitten is. The state of Michigan looks like a mitten, and we all call it the mitten. And if you're ever in Michigan and you ask where somebody lives, almost 100% sure they're going to pull out their hand and show you on the mitten where they live. All right, now I'm going to grab this little guy. This is my birdhouse. I love this. That white powder, we just drill the beads after they're made, so that's just polymer clay dust in there. Just wipes off. Okay. I'm going to do a small loop on the top here, and I'm going to bend it first. And do my loop. I want to be careful not to put any pressure on the top here because it's, you know, it's a small little bit of clay. You don't want to force it, just like you wouldn't want to force your wire on a glass bead and have it break. Same theory. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap around one more time just to get a little bit more fullness on the top there. All right. Trim off that end. Tuck it in nice and tight. Okay, and this is going to be my focal. I'm going to grab a 17 millimeter roped jump ring in this brass gold color too. And that's going to be my focal, and now we're going to do a bead soup necklace to go with it. And we're going to keep the bead soup pretty simple, the construction of it. I'm going to use 18 gauge parawire and 20 gauge parawire in the natural brass color. And we are going to do a little hammering. So I have my bench block and my ball peen hammer ready to go too. And this is what we're going to be making. We're going to do a chain with large links and then little chain in between with tiny links. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to pick out several big ones to start with. And these are all, they all have the larger hole in them so that they'll fit on the 18 millimeter wire. And so these are, we have a tube, we have an 11 millimeter bicone, a 10 millimeter English cut. Here's a 6 by 8 millimeter faceted rondelle. And then we have, I'm not sure if this will fit on. Let me check. Oh, these guys aren't going to fit on. So if I'm going to use these guys, I'm going to have to do 18 millimeter, I mean the 20 millimeter with those guys. So we'll see if I end up using those. Here's some little 9 millimeters. And you'll notice a lot of this stuff, well, not a lot, but some of it is from the project I did last week. I just had some leftovers. And that's the nice thing about bead soup, is that it can just be your leftovers. You know, it doesn't, we all have beads that we have a little pile at the end of a project, and you can just gather them together by color. save them for a rainy day project like this. This is a great way if you're cleaning out your studio and you have a little extra pile of beads. It's fun to do the links to to get them into a cool necklace. So we're gonna start with the bigger links. I'm gonna kind of decide where I want to place the big links on the necklace, and then I'm gonna fill it in with the smaller beads for the thinner links. Okay, so I'm gonna cut about 5 inches here to start with. I don't know if I'll need that much, but I don't want to start with less wire than I need. And this is a Bead Smith bail pliers is what these are called. They're bail pliers. I'm going to be working in this, like, can you guys see the numbers there? Sure you can. So this is 7mm round. This is 8mm round. I like the size of 7.5, so I'm going to do it in between, you know, just to keep things simple. So every time I make a loop, it's going to be in between that 7 and 8 to get the 7.5 inch. And I'm going to start with a round, and I'm going to break the neck. I can see this is probably not going to be enough wire. Should I keep going? We'll try. I had too much wire at this end. That's the problem. Okay, and I'm going to keep my wire wrapping simple today. I'm not going to do messy wraps. I'm just going to wrap twice on this and trim it in the back and tuck it in. This tool, I might have gotten it from Vintage, or they have one too. It's called bail pliers, and it's by Bead Smith. So you could also look up Bead Smith bail pliers, and you will find it. Okay, so there's my nicely formed loop. I can't guarantee that all the loops will look that nice, but the first one, yay. We'll take that victory. Okay, I'm going to bend over the wire before I start, and then I'm going to grab my pliers, and I'm going to position it at that 7.5 length, and I'm going to wrap my wire around, and it's gonna just barely make it. Definitely I want to not have so much extra wire on the one end. And I'm just gonna wrap that around, tuck it in. Okay. There we go. So that's what we're going to go for, are these little links right here. And then I'm going to do a few of them and then hammer them all, but I'm just going to show you guys step by step, and then we'll just crank them out. Hi, Karen. We haven't started, I mean, we haven't done much. I've just put together the focal part. So ball peen hammer, just hammering lightly. The para wire can take hammering. I don't know about other colored wire. And this will help make our loops nice and sturdy. They're not going to move around once they're hammered, because we're I forgot what it's called. Work hardening. That's the word. I wanted to say rock hardening, but that wasn't right. Oh my goodness. Work hardening the wire. And that makes it nice and stable, so those little loops aren't going to bend or go anywhere on you. And after I get several of these done, I'll do 2 to start with. I'm just going to show you the basic technique before we go any further, and then I'll just chat away and do a bunch of these, and then we'll put it all together. Um, so these are the the bail making pliers, and they're from Bead Smith. And I think I got them from Vintage. I'm not 100% sure. Or I might have just bought them at a bead show a long time ago. But if you just look up Bead Smith bail making pliers online, you'll be able to find it. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, taking about 5 inches, even though I know I won't need 5 inches. And this one I'm going to use my regular pliers, and I'm going to be doing a smaller loop. Break that neck so that my loop is right above my wire. And we're going to open this and slip on our beaded link that we did. I'm going to close this up and twist around 2 times. I'm going to keep all my wire work really consistent today. Not an easy task for me, I will admit. Okay, make sure you use your flush cutters and cut that wire down as close as you can. Tuck it in, make sure it's not going to catch anything. And then I'm using a 6mm. I have rounds, drooks, I have fire polish, melons, some little flowers, all sorts of little fun things in my bead soup. I'm just going to start with little round drook, just 6mm to start with. Okay, now I'm going to bend my wire, grab where I want the loop to go and wrap it around. And then I'm going to grab onto the loop and wrap 2 times tightly underneath my loop. Oh, crap. Except I need to redo this. Well, no, I won't redo it. I'll just do another little guy. Yeah, you gotta pay attention while you're doing this so you don't do what I just did. Because you want to attach this little link onto your next piece before you start. But I'm just going to do it a little backwards. Okay. So one thing I want to do each time I use a focal bead, I'm going to be mixing up the size or shape of the bead so that they're not the same one bead after another. Okay, so I'm going to cut that and do 6 inches this time. Hi, Susan Gray. Nice to have you here. Yeah, if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the comments and I will answer them as they pop up. Okay, so this time I'm going to make my loop. I'm going to break that neck. And before I do the wire wrapping, we're going to open this up, slip on our let's see, make sure I got this going the right way. Yes, okay, I'm going to slip this guy on, close it up. If you pay attention, you won't have to do this. You'll just be doing the little guys because I'm going to have to move this around when I hammer it so you guys get to see what to do if you make a mistake. Gotta love that, right? Okay, I'm gonna have to make sure you get that little bit of wire tucked in each time. You don't want jewelry that's poking anyone. Okay, now I am going to have to move my beads out of the way as I hammer. I'm going to turn this over on the other side. And so just moving those beads out of the way. has a hammer. There we go. And now I'm gonna grab the bicone bead, slip that on. And I'm gonna bend the wire, grab my pliers, put it at that 7.5 inch, or not 7.5, 7 millimeter mark, and twist that around. And then I'm going to close this and wrap around twice. Okay, making sure I get that end pinched in there nice and tight. Okay, I'm going to hammer this side. And ideally you want to have all the hammering pieces done first, but this is just what you do if you make a mistake. There we go. Currently, Lynn, the green tubes, these little guys, they're all sold out, and so as soon as the manufacturer, my source has them back in stock from the manufacturer, I will order some more, but they're just completely out of stock right now. Unavailable. Okay, I'm going to grab a melon one this time, and we're going to put this together like we should have the first one around and not made that mistake. Alternative way of doing this. Oh yes, you guys can hear Jess working in the background. He is busy today, sanding away. Okay, making my loop, bending that neck. We'll say bending instead of breaking, less violent. I'm going to stick that on my piece here, grab onto the loop while you twist the wire around nice and tightly 2 times. We're going to cut it off in the back. You just want to run your finger along there and make sure it doesn't catch on and that you've gotten rid of the little burrs. The little wire tucked in so it's not going to catch on anything. Okay, so there we have our little 6 millimeter one, and now this time I'm going to pay attention and make sure I open this loop up and put the other link on before I close it. Now, these little tubes, we do have them in other colors on the website, including a really pretty color of pink that's almost like this color pink. So you might want to check that out if you guys are interested in the tubes. We do have other colors. Just this blue one is sold out at the moment. And that's the fun of bead soup. Everything's one of a kind, right? It's all your little leftovers that you're going to use up. It's a great spring cleaning necklace. How's that sound? Okay. And I do like to use some longer beads mixed in here because it does make it go by a little bit quicker. Just a little tip. Okay. Is the other side a duplicate of this side? Nancy, I am going to do this one completely asymmetrical. So it's going to be different on both the sides. It's going to keep the same pattern of big bead, small bead, and big links, small links on each side, but the beads are going to be completely different. So let me whip up some of these in assembly line fashion, the way I most love to work. And so I'm going to be cutting these and then just talking about other stuff while we do this. So, what's been on my heart this week and that I wanted to talk to you guys about was creating when life gets really difficult or challenging. Some of you know that my mom has cancer and she's been going through treatments, and it's been hard because you love your mom to pieces and you don't want your parents to get sick, and cancer is a scary thing. And I will admit I have been drained creatively. Sometimes I can just jump in and create because I have a deadline, but I know it's not like the best, or it's just what I could throw together at the moment. So let's talk about how to restore your creativity when you're just completely spent. First things first, you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself and getting enough sleep and eating nourishing meals and spending time with people who are good for your soul, all that kind of stuff. Have your physical needs met first, because there's no creating if you're exhausted. It's just not going to happen. You have to fill the well first before you can get anything out from it. I've been listening to a great book from Julie Cameron, author of The Artist's Way, and she has a writing book out right now called Write This Way, I think is what it is. And she's just getting back to the basics of you can't rush creativity. It's better to have a daily practice instead of trying to do everything at once. And that sometimes working on something for 10 or 15 minutes is better for your creativity than trying to find an hour in a week that you just don't have. And so one way I do this is to gather projects components like I did with the bead soup so that I have it ready to go. Another thing that I've done that you guys have followed along with in the past that works really, really well when you just feel like you don't have anything left and you want to have projects to work on is just one day when you have an up day is to grab a muffin tin or whatever kind of compartmentalized container you have and fill each of the little muffin tin compartments with everything you need for a project. So all the beads that you would use for a project, your focal bead, your accent beads, your spacers, jump rings, chain, everything you imagine you would use for a project, and you would put in that little compartment on your muffin tin. You would fill up your muffin tin with 6 or 12 projects depending on what size, and these could just be earrings or bigger projects. And then whenever you have that 10 or 15 minutes, you're not spending your time digging through and looking for beads. Everything is there ready to go, and you can just start working on a project. And so that's really one of my favorite ways to get a lot of jewelry done in a short amount of time is to use the muffin tin technique. The other thing that Julie talks about in that book, and this is in the Artist's Way too, if you aren't into reading the writing book, there's a one just for artists, and it talks about taking yourself on artist dates, and that you cannot expect to create all the time if you're not feeding your soul with things that make you feel creative. And so artist dates are times you go out and do something that you find makes you feel inspired, whether that's going to a museum or sitting in a bookstore and flipping through magazines or going to a garden center, whatever makes you feel refreshed and infuses your soul with things that are beautiful. That's another way to help jumpstart your creativity when you're spent. And there are times when you're trying to make stuff and you just don't have anything left. And that's when you probably need to take yourself on an artist date and just spend even a half an hour just out doing something for yourself, recharging those batteries. And then you can come back to the studio. Like a lot of times sitting in front of the bead table when you have nothing left, you're going to get nothing out. And so, first take care of those physical needs. If you need a nap, take a nap. If you need to eat a good lunch, eat a good lunch first. And then you can start working on what inspires you. My next tip, I'm reading your things here. Yes, Lynn, I was just going to talk about, Lynn said, I still have a box of old bead magazines. Looking through them and your books helps me focus on something other than the down times in your life. Definitely. One thing I like to do is, if you haven't read the book, How to Steal Like an Artist, I highly recommend it. It's a great, very quick little read, and it's all about tapping into creativity too. And one of the things that the author rightly claims is that since there's nothing new under the sun and we aren't really making up brand new things, borrowing from your inspirations to create something new is something all artists do. So you find inspirations from lots of different sources and filter them together through your experiences and style, and then you come up with something that's unique to you. But finding inspiration from other places, including books, magazines, Pinterest, other jewelry designers that you admire. What I like to do is I keep a sketchbook, and when I'm going through those websites, instead of just mindlessly scrolling, which is something we all do, right? Just mindlessly scroll through Instagram or Pinterest, and that's nice and can be relaxing, but it can also just be escapism. And instead of just, well, there's always a time for escapism, but if you're trying to fill up your creative well, which is what we're talking about here, it helps to have a little sketchbook handy and make notes of the different things you find inspiring about a piece of jewelry. So instead of just copying someone's design, maybe there's a way they did a clasp or a wire wrapping, and you'll take note of that and then integrate something or try a different method that reminds you of that piece, so that you're finding the inspirations from other people but making it your own by filtering it through your own design style and what techniques you already know and how you can adapt something that you've seen that you find inspirational into a creation that's new. Okay, I'm trying to do enough variety here. I don't want to get all the same beads. So those are some of my top tips for designing when life gets tough. And I will tell you guys, what's that quote from Lord of the Rings about feeling like a butter spread too thin over a piece of toast? That's been me lately. I've been spread thin, and it's been hard to feel like I have things to give back, which is really important to me. And so I've had to take a step back and take care of my creative soul and self in this process so that I can come here and do fun things with you guys. And life is always hard, and sometimes I use creativity as a way to escape too, and it's just nice to make something pretty for a few hours and forget about all of your troubles. And I also like to keep it busy when I'm stressed out, so that helps keep me a little productive, but doesn't always work the best for managing stress. So I really want to emphasize that make sure to take care of yourself first, and then you'll be ready to be creative. You're not going to be creative if you're too tired or spending too much time online and not giving yourself enough of a break during the day. Like, we want that connection, but there's also a point where you're not really connecting, you're just trying to be numb. Am I right? You guys know what I'm talking about. And so that's not good for your long-term creativity. Like I said, there's always a time and a place where you just need to do that once in a while. But if you find yourself spending too much time online just scrolling and not having time to create and feeling ucky because of it, because creativity is super good for depression or anxiety. If you guys don't know this, there's lots of research about how good creativity is for you during difficult times. And so that's my advice for today. Take care of yourself. And that's also my advice for myself too, because I have not been doing a very good job of that lately. And my mom has 2 more weeks of chemo, you guys, and the tumor that she has is already shrinking. So I want you guys know, it's just super thankful, and that she's doing really good. And she hasn't had a lot of symptoms from the chemo. I mean, she's super tired, of course, but she's doing really good. So just wanted to put that out there, that mom's doing good, and I'm so thankful for this job and this time so that I can be there with her and with my whole family. Just time to be with my whole family during this time, and also still find time to be creative. All right, so this is going along nicely, nice and quick. And this is the kind of project you could do in several sessions, where you could do this while you're watching TV, or if you have just a little bit of time that you want to fill in, you could have these ready to go and just do the little loops, and then later on put the chain together by doing the middle pieces. Bead soup for the soul. Emily, I love that. That's what we need, right? Definitely. I know it's what I've been needing lately. All right. I'm really enjoying this process doing the links when I was trying to figure out what to do with this project, and I was trying lots of different link variations. I'm really glad I settled on this one. I was trying to do some crazy elongated link that there was no way I could keep it consistent. So using those pliers is a really great way to keep consistent with your work with these little loops, because you just need to put it on the line every time, and then you're ready to go, and you don't have to worry about a jig or trying to come up with anything to keep things consistent. So let's see where I'm at here. I'm not putting these in any particular order. I'm just seeing how many I'm going to need for the length of this. And I think I'm gonna do a little clasp on the back. So I'm gonna show you guys how to make a little clasp with the wire too, so that everything ties in together nicely. Yes, June, I totally hear you. It has been hard since COVID. I feel like a lot of us, well, all of us, we've gone through this major trauma together, and there's time that we need to recover from that for sure. And so, yeah, I watch Candy too when I need to cheer up. She's a piece of sunshine. So thankful for her. Yes, I definitely agree that connecting with fellow creative people can really, really help in the process of getting your creative mojo back. But if you haven't checked out that book, The Artist's Way, I highly, highly recommend that book. No matter if you feel like you're an artist or not, that's the whole point of the book, is that everyone's creative and you don't have to feel like an artist with a capital A to tap into your creativity. And it's a great resource, and I refer back to it and refresh with it often. So let's hear from you guys. What are some things you do to recharge when your creative battery is at 0? Bead stores, definitely. If you're lucky enough to have a bead store in the area, make your artist date there. Make your bead store owner happy to see you, and connect with people, and then just be able to run your fingers through all of those beads and take home a new pile. That's just some happiness right there. Okay, so Beadsmith Loop Right is what Christy is telling me is what this little bail making pliers are called. Beadsmith Loop Right. Thank you, Christina. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just picked these up at a bead show a long time ago. And so you can look up Beadsmith Loop Right pliers, and you will find those little guys. Ooh. Yes, Donna, I hear you about the scrolling for hours and hours on Pinterest. That's my guilty pleasure too. And what I do every month is I pick my top 12 or so images, and I print them out and put them in my journal. And so I have like my monthly inspiration of images for Pinterest, and you can do that. I'm really careful about taking images off from online, but since you're using it for inspiration purposes only, you can print out the pictures from Pinterest, and I just print them on photo paper and then put them in my journal. And I absolutely love doing that. Keeps me very happy. And then I have something to look at every day when I go look at my calendar for the day. There I have my pretty little inspiration mood board ready to go. Like this month, it's all spring flowers and yellow and peach and green, like a beautiful sagey green. Everything that feels fresh and springy. That also looks a lot like my mood board for this this next mood board inspiration from the Humble Beads VIP group. And so I let that kind of sit and germinate ideas through the month as I'm thinking about what kind of beads I want to make for the next Artisans collection. I have that little mood board ready to go. sometimes you'll see like fashion designers have mood boards or interior designers have mood boards, and it's just a collection of images that work together that you find inspiring. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just whatever you find inspiring. It's like a little collage. Okay, let's see. I think let's do some math. Try not to scare you guys. Okay, so let's say 3 links is going to get me 5 inches. So like 6 links will give me 10, right? That'll be 20. So I probably want to do, let's start with the 6 links and see how long we get. So I have this one started already. So now I'm going to move these beads around to get the configuration that I want, playing off the other side of the necklace. So as I do this, I am going to repeat the components throughout the necklace, but I don't want to have them exactly the same. Let's see, I'm liking that. Yeah, definitely. I'm looking for a mix of textures and colors and shapes as I put this together. Okay, let me just start there and see what I come up with. I don't know, I took a big, huge, deep breath there. Okay, I'm going to read through some of these while I work on the grabbing the little beads. So, oh yes, the Master's Touch prophetic jewelry. Sorry, I don't know your name. Feel free to share it with us. Organize and sort your beads. That is a great way to recharge. Oh yes, I love reading too. What I really love is not necessarily sitting and reading a book in front of my face, but listening to audiobooks. We do that throughout the day here in the studio. And Mitzi, I second the recommendation of Big Magic by Melissa Gilbert. That's a fantastic book. Oh yes, I like the idea of just making a collage, definitely. Right? Yes, right now, you go on autopilot for sure, Kathy. That's kind of a defense mechanism, right? I hear you on that. Lydia, I am going to hammer the ones that I made. I should do that right now. Good thing I looked, because I probably would have just started putting things together. So let's hammer all of these real quick, and then I'll be ready to put them together. So if you need to turn your thing down for a minute, yes, go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to hammer gently on these. And if you just didn't see the beginning, or you're just joining us, this is Parawire 18 gauge, and I recommend hammering the Parawire, but I don't know about other types of colored wire jewelry. I don't use it, so I don't know. You could also use copper wire and antique it. So let me just zip through this real quick. Talks amongst yourselves while I do. Share your ideas, and then I'll read back through them. Maybe I'll put in a little background music in the back.
Myself a riddle or play the
these ideas you guys are sharing. Linda says connecting with beady people is really important too. I definitely agree. If you can get together with a bead buddy and make a weekend of it, that's always super fun. Yes, don't forget to hammer the links. Thank you, Linda. I would have totally forgot about that. And then, oh, Chris, I like this. When your creativity is sleeping, to try to finish some UFOs. So we all have those half-finished projects in the studio. I didn't hammer all of these because I realized I'm only going to be putting together one half of the necklace. You don't need to see me put together both of them. And then I also need to figure out my little link situation here again because I totally took it apart. That was smart. Sometimes I just get so involved in the creativity I don't even pay attention to what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to do 3 links on this side. There we go. Trying to decide how I want to do this. I'll have to make one more link for the other side. Okay, I'm going to go with that. Okay, that's it. Oh, Linda, I love that. Linda had a bowl of beads that she would call Pet the Beads dish. That's perfect. Love it. Okay, so here's a little 9mm flower. That'll be a cute little guy to throw in there. And so as I'm putting these together, I'm looking to see what bead in between is going to be a little pop of color. And I think I'll do a gold. Well, I don't want to do 3 drooks in a row. So let me see what other options I have here. I have some little fire polish ones in here. Let's do that. There we go. Stay. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 beads here, so I'm going to cut 4 pieces of wire. So I have that all done. Susan Gray, I did not hammer the small little links in between. I feel like they're not going to go anywhere, so because they're small. So I just hammered the big ones. Great question. Oh no, was the music too loud? Sorry about that, Barbara's cat. The hammering sounded like a woodpecker. I know, it's funny when you teach a class and everyone starts hammering in unison. That's always entertaining. Okay, now I'm gonna pay attention a little bit this time around so I don't make that same mistake that I did before. So we're gonna make the little loop here. You're gonna open your loop each time and stick it through your beaded link. Close it up and wrap around twice. Trim it off in the back as close as you can. Ooh. That was not as close as I could. There we go. And this is 20 gauge wire that I'm using for the smaller links, and then I used the 18 gauge wire for the larger links. Okay, I'm going to throw that little flower on. Alright, and now I'm going to do the loop on the top of the flower here and then stick on my next piece. I think I'll actually pull these guys out of the way so that I don't get my two sides confused. Don't need to do that. And again, I'm going to make that round piece, open it up, and slip it on. I think it's just the way the light's reflecting off the piece where I hammered. It didn't change the tone of it. It just is catching more of the light. Kelly asked if any of this had like come through. The color underneath is actually copper, and so you would have seen like little copper pieces if it had been the metal coming through. So this is not solid brass wire, but it's copper wire that's been covered with a brass colored coating. So keep that in mind. That's why I suggest using the para-wire, because I know the para-wire can handle the hammering. I don't know about other types of wire. And you'll also notice I'm using a lot of textures to this design. So we have etched, we have smooth, we have shiny, we have matte. And so mixing all of that up adds a lot of interest to your design too. So look for different textures, shapes, colors, and finishes on your beads as you're putting together your bead soup. Okay, I'm going to try to zip along here really quick and get these pieces finished up so you guys know what I'm doing already, so I won't explain it all the way through again. You just get to hear the chain rumbling, jingling on the table. I don't like how that's not laying flat, so I'm gonna just pinch that down a little bit and my bead will lay flatter on that wrap. As soon as I try to hurry, I get messy, so slow myself down. It's a nice thing about sometimes jewelry making can be very zen, as you just have to be in the moment, not thinking about anything else. Just mindfully making your jewelry. Okay, I'm gonna do one more link. Well, one more big link. I'm gonna do two little beads on either side of that and then show you guys how to do the clasp. Oh man, this has gone really over. I didn't realize how meditative I was. Let's call this done for the day, and I'll show you guys really quick how to do the clasp, because I won't be able to do a Friday video. I was thinking I'll do it on Friday, but on Friday I will be with my mom doing her chemo, so I'm going to actually, for the clasp, I'm going to use this I'm totally oh, the rope. I can't believe I'm totally forgetting what this kind of wire is called. Twisted wire. There we go. nothing fancy. It's just 18 gauge twisted wire. And I'm going to cut about 4 inches, although I know that's more than I really need. And okay, so the wire has a natural bend, and I'm going to go the opposite direction of the natural bend and make a little tiny half loop. And then I'm going to close it with my pliers just by pinching it closed here. Okay, and I'm going to grab my pliers, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space before I start my wrap because I want this to be elongated a little. And I did it at the 8mm size, and so we have our little hook here. And now on this side, I'm going to make a loop and then do, ooh, that's kind of funky. Let's get that loop a little closer. Okay, I'm going to make a loop. And wire wrap twice around there. Now, for that little piece right there, I can take my Sharpie marker, a black Sharpie marker, and color that little copper mark in where that little copper bit is showing. You can see, and that'll help it disappear. I didn't make this quite big enough, so since I haven't hammered it yet, I can move it around just a little bit, and I'm going to make it a little bit fatter. I didn't like his proportion. He just was not quite what I was looking for. There we go. I like this. I'm going to pull out my hammer. And work harden this piece. So when you hammer something, some wire, that's called work hardening. Oh, and I can see I've hammered it just a little bit too much and some of that copper is showing, but I'm just gonna live with it. And now I will just pair this up with a thicker jump ring on the other side. Let's see, like a nice sturdy. Gotta find the perfect one here. All right, well, I'll just grab this one. So I'm just going to grab a jump ring, and at the end of my link, on the small link, I'm going to add my jump ring and my clasp, and that'll be the end of my design. So that's that. You guys, you have been such champs watching this whole long video. Oh, and of course, at the bottom here, I think it'll be better if I do another little link, and then like a small link. Like, I would rather have a small link attaching those two. So that's what I'm going to do for the bottom. And here's my chain, and I'm going to do it about 22 to 24 inches long. I'll see when I try it on how long I want it to be, and I'll just add the appropriate amount of links for this. All right. So you guys have been here watching, and I think I'm going to do a giveaway since you guys have been watching for an hour and 10 minutes. And since it's International Women's Day, let's do something big. Let's do a $50 gift certificate. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask a question, and the first person to type in the answer to the question will be the winner. and it will be the first person that shows up on my screen. So it may be different on yours, but the first person that answers it correctly on my screen will be the winner. We're going to do a $50 gift certificate to humblebeads.com. I'm going to give you guys a minute to get to your device if you are watching it from, across the table or just listening. Okay, so my question is, what gauge wire did I use on my big links? So what was the larger size gauge wire that I used on my big links? Oh, you guys are so sweet. I love the comments. Oh, Lynn Stanky, you were so quick. So, Lynn, you have won the $50 gift certificate. I will send you a message with that. Thank you guys so much. Oh, you guys are so quick. Everyone's typing in. Yeah, so I used 18 gauge for the larger links, and then the smaller links in between, I used 20 gauge. And the reason I used the two different gauges is the smaller beads in the middle won't fit on to the larger gauge, so that's why I mixed them up. And then it also gives a nice cool effect too. All right, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for playing along with me. No coffee break video this week, so next week on Wednesday we will be tuning in to watch the vintage unboxing for March. Should be super exciting. Don't forget, if you haven't picked up your Mood Board Artisans collection for the spring blossoms, those are available. It's a surprise collection like I did with the love letters. This one's going to be spring blossoms with gold and greens and peaches and all sorts of springy inspirations for that. And you'll be getting a set of disc beads, spacers, a set of head pins for earrings or charms, and a house bead, and a bramble bird. And so you get all of those, and those will ship out the first week of April. All right, guys, thank you so much. And of course, that's all on humblebeads.com. All right, take care. Have a great week. And yeah, definitely share more tips if you guys have more tips of how you get your creative mojo back.